The hills roil under the cosmic manipulation of time. They surge forth, build themselves up, and then crumble into the sea. They are consumed down there and then molded anew. This is our world. It is a vast nightmarescape of unending transfigurations that no eye is lasting enough to perceive. Amid this disgusting chaos, there floats a rock, an island, fixed in dimensions that has, by whatever joke of gods, found itself immune to the weathers of our reality. Very few have set foot on the island, and all who have then perished. This is not the fault of some curse on the land. It is, like all things, the fault of time. On the island, there is a cave. And fallen away in the deepest recesses of this cave, there is an ancient skull, lodged in a nook, in the cavern, in the island, in the sea, in the roiling, ephemeral world. It is the last sad relic, never to be found, of some person who somehow explored further than most could ever dream. In the skull, there is a snail. It has lived there for a little while. If snails could have names, its name would be Julius, but the snail doesn't know that about itself. The snail knows very little, but perhaps a little more than most snails do. In some futile attempt to whittle away at his numbered days, Julius begins to paint the walls of the confines of his skull. Perhaps it is art, or perhaps it is imagination, but something about the process opens to him a world larger than the bounds of his meager reality. The paintings are simple at first, showing the dark contours of the bony cranial sanctum of the explorer's lost head. As time goes on, though, the snail grows more ambitious. He paints the globus contours of the skull from the outside now, then the position of its bulky form as a piece of litter in the vastness of the nook, though he has still never slithered outside to see such an incomprehensible view. Soon he is imagining the whole cavern, and his hardly ever sleeping snail sleep is hardly eating the food-like detritus that sustains him in that pit. Julius paints the gaping maw of the cave now, and then the alien outdoors that surrounds this cave. His imagination is wild, and he creates fractal forms he could never know are called plants, invents colors he couldn't comprehend, and panoramas full with life and energy and seasons. Julius loses himself in that foreign reality, a reality which he is inventing, but which happens as well to be true. He begins to live up there in the sun through his paintings, and soon the paintings stop, too. The mind is enough. He sees the cycle of life and death that plays out on that eternal rock and is a part of it. It is a part of him, and somehow his powers of imagination stop there. He does not look above that fickle nature and see the undulating geology. He does not see the oceans freezing and thawing and flying into space, and he does not feel the dread impermanence. He lives on a leaf up there in his mind, and he dies one day in a skull, in a nook, in the cavern that scars the perfect beauty of the dying nature on the island, the sea which covers the rolling tectonics that fracture the marble surface of the planet as it hurtles to its void across 1,000 light years. And he's happy.